Hi everyone, this is Connie from Connie's Creative Creations. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and I hope you think about hitting that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Click all. That will notify you every time I upload a video. And also give me a big old thumbs up and leave a comment if you would like. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Now I'm taking part in a challenge, so we'll get back to more details. So let's get right into the projects that I'm going to be doing today. Now we're working with resin or UV resin. I'm only working with resin today, epoxy resin. So I purchased from Amazon these chess molds and checker molds. Well, my husband's birthday is in a few weeks, and he loves chess. He cannot find his board that he used to have. So I thought, well, I'm going to make one. So what I'm doing is I have Mica powder colors, and they're very strong. You don't need very much. And I put it in the resin, and I have silicone cups and stir sticks that's covered in silicone, so I can stir it, and then it dries and I can pop it off, and I can keep using it. So here I am making the chessboard, and I asked him what his favorite colors were, and I knew green was his favorite, but I wanted to know what his next favorite color was, and he said brown. So here I am, I'm just using the little cup, and I am dripping or pouring some in each section using the stick and just pushing it, making sure it's in all the corners. And then I will move to the chess pieces. Now, I learned some valuable lessons about chess pieces. I've never poured resin into molds that are like this, or even to only a couple of other molds, period. I used to do resin a long time ago, but it was never in molds. It was like on the surfaces of stuff. But what I found is when I started taking these out, my little pawns, the top was not connected, and I thought I was breaking it, but then I got to look at it. No, it was air bubbles. So I was just pouring it in there and not making sure that the resin got down into every section and all the air bubbles was up. I used a heat gun, and I thought that was getting the air bubbles out, but I realized through this process, because I had to re-pour a bunch of them, and now I've got all these little pieces of chess pieces that are in two pieces. Now I'm not throwing those away because I know I have an idea of what I'm going to do with them. Of course, you can't liquefy them again, but you can put them inside of something. So I'm going to make something with him with these floating chess pieces. You know what? I have no idea, but we'll see what I end up doing with it. Something like that. So here I have poured them all. Did not realize that there was bubbles down in between the little ball and the connecting part. It wasn't even connected. So when I pull them out, I end up with all these little balls and little parts of pawns. And yeah, I learned my lesson. I finally got enough of them and realized what was going on and had to redo them. But yeah, so I'm just pouring it. Now I have to let them sit for 24 hours. So onto this information. This challenge is from Sarah Can DIY It, and Theresa from Theresa B Designs. And they love resin, and I thought, well, I'm going to hop right on here because I love resin too, and I've started to make a lot of things. So don't forget to go down into the description box. That is where both of their channel links are, as well as the playlist link. So let's get right back into this. Now I completely spaced, or I didn't turn on my camera when I was pouring the brown, but as you can see, it is there, and I'm pulling the molds, the green ones, out of the molds, and that's when I start realizing that I have all these little balls. They're not connected, and I ended up figuring out why, and I ended up getting them all good. after that. But I had also started pouring some of the brown in some of the molds as well. And yeah, I find I ended up getting enough for the whole set. But boy, that was a trial and error, about 4 or 5 days of work. But hey, I got it done. Now I'm just mixing the clear to pour over the chest board so that it will seal it, and that becomes the bottom. So you flip it over, and then it will be completely done. It's a beautiful board. I love this board, and the pieces are beautiful too. The way I mixed the mica powder in them, it's iridescent, kind of, sort of. It's beautiful. But here I am just mixing it, and I just put half and half, and then I mix it till it's clear. It gets kind of cloudy when you're stirring it, and once it gets clear, then you know it's mixed. Now every resin is going to have a little bit different. Some will say mix for 2 minutes, mix for 3 minutes, mix for 4. This one just says mix till clear. So once it was clear, then it was done. And I mixed that first one, and I didn't have quite enough, so I ended up mixing a little bit more so that it was completely full to the top. Because when I got done with this part, I could still, there was still a little bit of the board, the mold that wasn't filled, and I wanted it filled up. But I need to pour the brown first, and this is when I think I started realizing why the tops were coming off. So I worked really hard at making sure that there was no air bubbles. So I held it in my hand, and I kind of put a little bit in, squeezed it, and squeezed those bubbles up out of the molds. That's what's nice about having silicone molds, is you can actually squeeze them. Even using a torch or a heat gun will not bring those bubbles out of those little tiny spots down inside of these the molds. There's no way it won't. So yeah, here I am just working away. After I got done pouring all of those, I was going to make, with those same colors, a coaster set. And so I am just using my leftover and filling up these 2 coasters. And then the next day I end up pouring the rest, because I need more of those same colors, because the next day I realize I need, and I'm taking this chest piece board out of the molds, and then I realize that I need to pour some more pieces. And here is the brown checker pieces. I'd already done the green. I'm just popping those out of the molds, but I end up needing more of the brown for more of the pieces, as well as some of the green. That's when I realized, okay, I'm gonna do coaster set. So here I am just messing with these, and you can see I'm gathering on the left side top, I'm gathering all these little pieces, and I had to pour some more of the resin in it. Of the resin, I'm going to pour the last of the chest pieces that I need, and I'm going to pour the rest of the pieces for the set of coasters, as well as I end up making a jar I mean, it has a screw-on lid and all. It turned out beautiful. I'm going to be making more of those, and I've got some other sizes as well for little trinkets. I'm thinking about doing it for gifts, all kinds of different things. So I'm just mixing. I needed just a little bit of green and the rest brown, and yeah, I'm just gonna mix this all up and get it all poured. And here I am pouring these, and you can see I stop and I squeeze it and I push up all of the bubbles so that it all comes out in one piece. So that's what I was doing. I kept moving it and squeezing it and making sure that it was completely filled. Then I go and I finish pouring the jar, because I'd already done the lid. And so I had the coaster container, 2 coasters to do, and then the coaster holder. And so I'd already done the lid to the jar, and I think I grab the jar and I do the last of the green and the brown. I pour it in at the same time, so it ends up really, actually I do that on this one, and then the next day is when I pour the jar. I'm pretty sure it doesn't much matter, but here I am kind of doing it together, so and I make sure it's not mixed, it's just kind of together. I kind of float it around, and I put make sure that it's all in there, and I just pour the brown until it's completely full. And then after that this is the lid. I'm pouring the rest of the brown into the lid because I have plenty. I'm getting that all full, and then the next day is when I should have just went ahead and did it, but I wanted to wait and pull out those pieces first to make sure they come out in one piece, and that's when I pour the jar itself. And you can see at the end how beautiful these pieces turned out, completely gorgeous. But yeah, so I'm just making sure, topping them off, making sure they're all filled to the top of these containers. And I had a little bit left of the resin, so I went ahead and grabbed this little star mold, and I poured it into the star molds because I'm making something else for my grandson and he needs all kinds of stars. So that's what I'm doing with these, or the last of the resin. This is the next day, and I'm popping it all out. Now, this is regular epoxy resin. If you use UV resin, which I did on my live a couple of weeks ago, you put it in the mold, you put it right under the UV lamp, and it sets it right there, and you can demold it. And it's super simple. It's already pre-mixed, and the UV resin, or the UV rays, is what clears it off. So here I have pulled all of the those out, and this is I'm going to head and mix the brown for the jar and get that completely done, and then I'll show you the demolding of that, and then these projects will be completely finished. here I am mixing up my last batch of the brown. I had 2 pieces of, even though I was careful that I had to re-pour again. I'm almost thinking that, yeah, I'm going to make some more of these, but I'm even going to be more careful to make sure I have no air bubbles down in there. And then I'm going to pour the last of this in the for the jar, and then these projects will be done after they set. And I let them set a day before I demold them, and then I let them sit longer to really, like 72 hours to really set. And here I am pouring it, and I'm making sure that there is no bubbles. I'm using white, so it's a gradient, so it's not a solid brown. It ends up turning out really, really cool. So that's what I am doing. And then these projects are done. I really enjoy it. I got this resin from Amazon, and I can link it in my description box, as well as the molds, so that if you want to get these, you know where to get them from. And if not, then yeah, you can get your own molds, whichever you would like. So you guys have a great day. Call somebody and tell them you love them, because that might be exactly what they need to hear, as well as you have all a most blessed day. And don't forget to be the Bible that somebody reads today. Bye.